Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi is in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? We'll be covering 5 headlines from across the globe and then choose one to go into a more detailed analysis. For our third story today, we'll be focusing on the country of Taiwan with that lo-fi style country profile. But first, the news fresh off the press. Source, AP News International. Kosovo president, 9 ex-fighters indicted for war crimes. This is big. A sitting president is being indicted for war crimes and crimes against humanity for his role in the murder of more than 100 people during the Kosovo conflict against Serbia in 1998 and 1999. The implications. Generally, we see international investigative bodies only indict former African leaders for such crimes, for reasons that would take an entire podcast far longer than ours to explain. But this expansion by the international community indicates that that trend may be waning, in addition to the International Criminal Court's new focus on another Western democracy as well. We'll be keeping an eye on this one for sure as it develops. Next up, source, Reuters World News. U.S. sanctions 5 Iranian ship captains for bringing oil to Venezuela. Pompeo. Now, what's this, Lo-Fi listeners? Is this finally an update in response by the U.S. to our Pirates of the Caribbean story from last month when Iranian oil was sent to Venezuela in 5 ships through the Caribbean and the U.S. let it happen? Well, yes, that's what we're talking about today. The implications. Let's go ahead and quote the Secretary of State Pompeo on this one. Their careers, the captains he means, and prospects will suffer from this designation, the sanctions he means. Mariners who are considered working with Iran and Venezuela should understand that aiding these oppressive regimes is simply not worth the risk. End quote. Hold on, Lo-Fi Nation. Let me holla at Mr. Mike real quick. Hey, Mr. Mike! They already have a job. What are you talking about? Please, you decide not to play Pirates of the Caribbean with their boats, and now you're trying to look like a hard ass? Get out of here. Ain't nobody got time for that. Next time, go a little more Jack Sparrow on them, and then maybe we'd care. Moving forward, because we never move on from anything, it's time for our country profile of the day, Taiwan. Geography lesson, Lo-Fi Nation. Taiwan is an island nation off the eastern coast of China. It is south of South Korea and Japan, with the Philippine Sea to the east, the country of the Philippines to the south, and Hong Kong to the southwest. The Independence Day of the country was in 1945, and 1949, and never. This one really is a matter of comparative perspective, though I almost made it a multiple choice question for you. The GDP per capita in 2018 was just over $25,000 a year, though no World Bank data for this. Fishiness ensues, Lo-Fi Nation. Freedom House, covering civil liberties and civil rights around the world, gave Taiwan a 93 out of 100, same as last year, and a free rating. Go Taiwan with your bad self. Reporters Without Borders, ranking 180 countries and territories across the globe via media freedoms, ranks the country as number 43 out of 180, down 1 place from last year. And Transparency International, with its ranking of 198 countries and territories across the globe via their Corruption Perception Index, places the country as the 28th least corrupt country in the world. In short, Taiwan is doing pretty well economically and democratically, but internationally, it's a bit of a different story. Now, what's been happening in Taiwan lately? Well, China claims Taiwan as part of the country and labels it an autonomous region. Sure. Okay, China. Several of the countries that did formally recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state gave up doing so over the past few years. Now, there are less than 20 of the 200 and so countries of the world that actually recognize Taiwan as a country. The World Health Organization recently left Taiwan's invitation to an important meeting about current global conditions lost in the mail somewhere because they weren't invited. And whose fault is that? Ask Taiwan. I'm sure they can tell you. China! Oh, excuse me, Lo-Fi Nation. I accidentally swallowed some spit mixed with the truth, it seems. Apologies. In short, Taiwan is doing great as a developed country in the world, but it's having a hard time with bias against it in the international community, fueled by China. We'll definitely be keeping our eyes open and ears to the ground to see how this plays out moving forward. And now for our Headline in the Spotlight segment. Source, BBC News, Technology Section. And warning, Lo-Fi Nation, this is a bit of a scary one. Facial recognition to predict criminals sparks row over AI bias. Oh, breathe, Pickering. Where do I begin on this one? Researchers and software developers from a certain university in the US, look up the article for yourself if you want to know more, claim to have developed artificial intelligence that can identify criminals via facial recognition before they actually commit a crime. The backgrounds and implications of this story. Anyone ever saw the 2002 Tom Cruise film, Minority Report? It went just like this story. And wouldn't you know, Tom Cruise decided in the end that arresting people for a crime they didn't commit doesn't work because computers are always flawed because humans make them and humans are flawed. Now, I'm not saying this story is like that, because we all know Hollywood is bullshit. What I am saying is this is bullshit too. What are you planning on doing with this software, people? Sell it to China, Russia, Belarus? But once something like this gets out, damn. Wake up, Lo-Fi Nation, and stay tuned in for this one. This is just the beginning of a bigger battle for all of us. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day because I refuse to leave you with that shit show before we go. Source, AP News International. Germany bans single-use plastic straws, food containers. Leave it to Germany to make me smile. That's right, folks. Someone actually cares that plastic is super wasteful and hurts the fishies and turtles that we love so dearly. The implications. To quote AP on this one, the cabinet agreed Wednesday to end the sale of plastics including single-use cutlery, plates, stirring sticks, and balloon holders. End quote. And no, I have no idea what a balloon holder is either, and I refuse to Google such a thing because I'm sure it sounds like it's exactly what it's like. But hey, not being wasteful is a good thing. Caring about the place you live is a good thing. Well done, Germany. Well done. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Write in with your questions or comments to lofipolisci@planetmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Wash those hands. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.